Should we just jump down to Cavan Sullivan at this point?
Yeah,
at
exactly.
18?
Exactly. You read my mind. That's exactly what I was going to do. Let's do the Cavan Sullivan takes.
Yeah.
He should be higher. I'm just going to say it.
Oh,
he should be higher.
Disagree.
He should be higher. And
Here,
this
we'll
is why.
spout it out. Okay, you cook.
Okay. No one else on this list already signed to Manchester City when he was 14. Okay.
Boo.
Am I wrong? Name another player on the list who has accomplished that.
I mean, I guess that's true. You can't deny that. I mean, you could argue that Christian McFarland is technically signed because, City Football Group owns New York City FC. So
I just think it's a very unique case. I would not most prospects that are this young that have pretty much no first team experience. I would agree. Like, you can't really put them on a list before they've played or contributed in MLS at all yet. I think this is a unique case where you are talking about one of the most highly rated prospects for his age group in the world, if not the most highly rated prospect for his age group in the world, which people think I'm exaggerating when I say that. And folks, that is literally just what the scouts and pundits say. Like, I've seen multiple scouts and multiple pundits, however much stock you put in what they say that he is not only the best player for his age in the country, but one of, if not the best in the world. That is unique type of pedigree that you frankly don't see very often. It's that type of prodigy phenom status that only comes around every so often. I think you can't really overstate how kind of difficult it is for a U.S. soccer prospect coming up to catch the eye, let alone get signed by a club like Manchester City, which is the best team in the world, I think, right now. Is there anyone that you would put above them? I don't think so.
No, but here's my argument.
All right,
I think he's in the correct spot. I think 18 is a perfect spot for where he's at. He doesn't play in Major League Soccer. I mean, he plays in Next Pro. With all due respect for, again, one of the most highly touted young players in the league, he's 15 and he played 6 minutes in MLS.
It's certainly not based on senior team.
Yeah.
I would argue that the fact that he's played 9 first team minutes at his age and at his size too is that's evidence of his pedigree and accomplishments.
Poorly in Next Pro. He has 4 goals in 18 matches. That's pretty solid.
Good for a 14, 15-year-old. And also when he has played against his own competition, his age, he's just been far and away the most dominant player. So I'm just saying, Man City pedigree doesn't come out of nowhere. That's not that. There's substance behind that. That's not just
I'm
hype.
not disagreeing that he isn't one of the 22 best young players in the league. I think he is. But I think also this idea that because he signed with Man City, he's somehow this insane product. Man City does this all the time. They sign young players all the time on these weird contracts, and he will get loaned out for 25 years and never see Man City ever. If he sees Man City, if he sees the field for Man City, I will eat my words. And honestly, I'm rooting for him. I like the Sullivan family. I like all the Sullivan boys.
You're just trying to pump the brakes on the hype train, and I'm trying to drive the hype train.
We're just in different points with that because I really do think he could be a good player, but I do think it's incredibly unrealistic. And I love Tom Bogues, one of my favorite pundits out there. Shout out Tom Bogues. He had him above Obed Vargas in his rankings, and there was a lot of people who had him there. They were had him in the top 10.
It depends how
I just disagree. Yeah. I cannot agree with that.
It just depends your criteria, because if you were doing this list purely on upside and potential, I think he would have to be.
But I disagree, because I think Obed Vargas has just as much upside and potential to be successful in his long-term career than Cavan Sullivan does, because they essentially started their careers around the same time. Obed was one of the youngest players when he came in, right? But he's actually seen consistent minutes, has trophies to his name, has big competitions to his name, and has been in a system and progressed in a way that is way more, in my mind, healthy to the development of a young player than being sprung up and tossed into a game when you're 15 so you can get the messy clicks, which, like, no disrespect to Philly Union for doing that. That was smart. They're trying to keep him happy, keep him there. And it was a fun story. Anyway, we were hyped on it. We did basically like a whole 30-minute thing on it. But I'm definitely pumping the brakes. I think at 18 is the perfect spot for him. I think he landed at the perfect spot.
And I understand the inclination to like slow down the hype train. I'm not gonna downplay like the pedigree at play when it comes to getting scouted and signed by Man City when you're 14. You could be right. It could be one of those situations, like we've seen, like when Yedlin went to Tottenham and he never really played for them, or like I see what you're saying with that. I would be pretty surprised if Cavan Sullivan didn't follow like at least a similar trajectory to like a Pulisic or a Weston McKennie or U.S. men's national team prospects of that ilk that have played for the likes of, Pulisic has been on Chelsea. He's played a long time for Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan. So, like, I don't know if Cavan Sullivan's going to reach that height, but he certainly has the potential to. And there's just, like, even on this list, like, I don't know how many players there are that have that potential. I think Diego Gomez has the potential to go play for clubs like that, and not just go play for clubs like that, but like excel is kind of the criteria that I'm thinking of. Like Gomez could, Redondo could for sure, but like past those Inter Miami guys, like it feels. It's just a very inexact science, and you never know what's going to happen. So, we don't know what's going to happen with Cavan Sullivan either. But like, I personally, I put a lot of stock in how much, not just the fact that he's one of the highest rated prospects in the world right now, but like how much higher he seems to be rated than everyone else his age. And like I said, like I'm basing that not off my evaluation, just what I've heard and read. And then also like, I've watched the highlights on YouTube and stuff, and he's pretty nasty with it. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun to track, but I think there's a good argument that he could have been higher. And really it's, like I said, it comes down to criteria, upside versus like contributions that you've already made. So I don't mind guys that have played more than him and contributed more being ranked higher, but he's got as much upside as anybody on here. I feel confident in saying that.